2 years ago today, I was not in the right frame of mind. I can barely even remember. It was such a fog that I have no idea what my brain was doing at that time. All I know is that I was surrounded by people, by his family and my family. My family freaked out and drove all the way down up to Colorado from Texas in a heartbeat to come be with me, and I was just very confused. Some of my family have never been to my house up there. I mean, our life was perfect before then, so we made the effort to drive to my family during the holidays and all of that. So to see my family pull up to my house and to not have Kale there, I mean, I felt like I was in a dream, like a nightmare the whole entire time, because all we were doing, they weren't doing it in a mean way, but all we were doing, we were planning a funeral. I don't know if you've ever planned a funeral before, but usually the people that I know that have planned a funeral are older and their loved one is sick or dying currently. But Kale died very, very suddenly, just ripped away from me in a second. So I was angry. I mean, the last thing that I ever thought, what we were planning was having a baby. I was pregnant right before he died. We were planning a family. We were planning to buy a house. We were planning career goals, all of that just gone in a flash of a second. He was my best friend, my rock, my everything. I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I don't have a lot of friends in general. He was my everything, just gone in a second. So in those couple of days before his funeral, I think his funeral was on the 7th. I can't even remember because I don't want to. My brain is like, doesn't want to go there. So while my family is like, you have to do this, you have to honor him, you have to figure out, I'm like, whoa, what? Like, I have no idea what's even happening right now. Like, he is actually gone. Like, what is happening? It was so traumatizing. I was in such a state of shock and just a fog. I thank God that I had family and a support system there with me to help me, but that was the last thing on my mind. So when we were picking songs and we were picking flowers and the casket, like that threw me into a spiral. I mean, I was spiraling already, but just having to plan that, like the stress of just like, I didn't wash my hair for like a good 10 days. I mean, I was dead inside. It was the most brutal experience, and I'd never wish it on anybody. And sometimes, right after he passed away, I would look up videos. I would get on YouTube and try to fall down the widow rabbit hole, quote unquote, and I found some really cool support systems, but it helps to listen to another young widow tell their story, and I didn't see very many widows talking about this moment. You know, I was still numb in that first couple of months after losing him. So all I wanted was to hear that I wasn't alone, and I couldn't find many stories like mine. Still can't find many stories like mine. I think I found one or two women that have talked about like my exact scenario, which I am going to have to make a long form story time in the future. I'm thinking that's going to be pretty soon. I'm going to break down the whole timeline because he deserves that. I haven't told my story online in front of everybody yet because it's very, very hard to talk about. But if it can help a couple of widows, if it can help one widow change their whole perspective on wanting to leave this earth and maybe want to stay just to feel life again, then that's why I am going to do this. I just want to reach out to all of the widows, widowers, people who have losing their girlfriends, boyfriends. It's a whole different kind of grief than losing your grandparent or your parent, you know? So I think it's really, really important to tell my story because my story is very unique. I don't even want to say that. That sounds so like pompous and like arrogant. It's not, I don't know. it's weird. You'll see, like, once I break down the whole entire timeline and everything. I'm working on that now. Do not know when that video is going to be out, but it's very, very important to talk about. So the next few days for me is going to be like happy doing all my gardening, and you know, my life is awesome. And then every couple hours I'll just get a flashback from this day a couple years ago and just think about how much my mind has changed and my life has changed. And it's not even like a changing of the life, it's a whole entire new life. If you would have told me 3 years ago that this would be my life, I would have laughed at you. So it's true. You're mourning and grieving your old life. It is completely gone and ripped away from you. And that sounds brutal to say, but you need to find things to look forward to, little bitty luxuries, little bitty nostalgic. If you like to eat this kind of thing, if you like to go to these kind of places, if it reminds you of your childhood, things like that, you need to separate the dark thoughts from the new life that you are starting. You know what I mean? You need to find things to look forward to. You need to focus on the essentials. You need to sleep. You need to eat. I know it's hard, and our bodies can run on nothing for a long time, but once you start getting to a couple of days without the essentials, your brain is going to go to a place that you don't ever want to go. You're just not going to be yourself, and you're going to do irrational things. So I don't know. I'll talk about that more, but yeah, that's just kind of a little taste of some of the grief talk. I want to explain to widows that it is okay to not be okay. That's very cliche as well, but it is very true. And I was there, and I still am there, and I'm working on it. So